Okay, so time series, very simply put, it is basically the movement of one variable over time. So, for example, I'm talking about, let's say, sales, okay, and I basically want to say how sales has changed over time. So, over here, let me plot time. Okay, so maybe I'm talking about the sales that happened in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, like this. Okay, and I basically want to see how has the value of sales been over these last 4 5 years. So then let's say I plot all these values. Okay, understanding no what we are doing, so we have, let's say, last 5 6 7 years of data, and this data can be on a yearly level. I may have quarterly data, I may have monthly sales data, does not matter. Basic logic is that over time I am seeing how has sales moved. So let's say I get these kind of values. So then I'm basically just going to try and plot it, and this is time series. Okay, time series, very simply put, it is a set of observations of a variable over successive periods of time. This is called as time series. Okay, so like I was mentioning, we can have this at a yearly level, we can have it at a monthly level, we can have it at a quarterly level, and then basically let me just plot all the values that I have, which can look like this, like this, like this. Okay, like this, basically all the observations of sales which I have over successive periods of time. The word successive here is important, which means that I need to maintain continuity in time. Okay, I need to take consecutive time periods. I cannot say that I'm talking about, let us say, year 2020, then year 2021, then I don't want to capture the sales of year 2022. I directly want to capture sales of year 2023. This does not work. Okay, it needs to be successive periods of time. There needs to be continuity involved. Okay, then only we can call it time series. So that is not very important. I mean, it's very obvious that I'm not going to break the time like this. So this is what time series is. Okay, I have a set of observations of one particular variable. In our case, the variable is sales over successive periods of time. Okay, so if I want to plot it as a linear regression, this is going to look very, very similar to what I have been doing till now. So I have y, which is my dependent variable. In this case, it is sales. I will have some intercept term. Okay, I will have the slope coefficient, and now I will have an independent variable, and in this case, as you can see, the independent variable is going to be time. This time acts like a independent variable. Okay, so this is what it looks like. If I want to take predicted values, so I will have predicted values of sales, I will have some estimate of the intercept term, I will have some slope coefficient value, I will have time. The meaning has not changed. We are still talking about linear regression only. The only thing which is now different is that in place of my independent variable, I now have time. Now let us understand autoregressive models. The abbreviation AR over here basically stands for autoregressive or autoregression. Now this is very simple. The name itself is telling us what we have to do. You have to regress a variable on itself. Okay, so for example, if I want to, let's say, predict sales of period t, okay, so in that case I have a intercept term, I have a slope coefficient, and I need the previous value of sales. Okay, and this is how I forecast sales. So if you're understanding what we are saying over here, we are saying that sales of this period is dependent on sales of previous period. This is a lagged value. This is a lag, no, this is a lagged value. Okay, so basically, I can say that in case of autoregressive models, the independent variables which I have, the independent variable, you can think of independent variable as the x term, right? Whenever I write a regression equation, I write it like this, right? Normally we use y and x. So x is basically the independent variable. So here we are saying that in case of autoregressive models, the independent variable is a lagged value of the dependent variable. That is why we are calling this model as a auto-regressive model. Auto means on itself, and regressive is basically regression. So regression on itself. Here I have sales and I am regressing sales on sales only. It's just that now I'm using the previous period's sales. Okay, so I am saying the previous period's sales, okay, is the previous period's sale is the independent variable, and it is helping me to forecast the current period's sales. Now this is an example of a single lag. This is called as AR1 because it has one lag, right? This is the dependent variable, and I have up to one lag of the dependent variable as my independent variable. Like this, I can have multiple lags also. So for example, if I write an equation like this, that sales of the current period is dependent on some intercept term, some slope coefficient, and then I'm saying sales of the previous period plus sales of two previous periods, and let's say sales of three previous periods. So let's say I am relying on 3 quarters or 3 years. Okay, so I am saying that current period's sales is impacted by the immediately previous period's sales, then one more lag after that, and then one more lag after that. So for example, here I am saying that Q4 sales, okay, let us say this is Q4 sales. So I am saying Q4 sales depends on Q3 sales, it depends on Q2 sales, and it depends on Q1 sales. Okay, so this is what I am saying. Understanding? So this is the first lag, the immediately preceding term. This becomes my first lag, then this is my second lag, and this is my third lag. So like this, I can have any number of lags. Okay, so this model, if I want to denote this model, I will call it as AR3. Why will I call it as AR3? Because there are three lags incorporated over here. Okay, so this is autoregressive models. Okay, very simply put, the name is only telling you regressing on yourself. Okay, this is the dependent variable, and I am using a lagged value of the dependent variable as my independent variable. I am using the lagged value of the dependent variable, some previous value of the dependent variable I am using as the independent variable. Understanding? Now let us understand how can we do, one second, how can we forecast using AR models. Okay, and for this, let us say I'm giving you, let us do it in an example only. It's a very simple discussion that we are having over here. Let us say the regression equation that I have looks something like this. Correct? So let me give you a intercept term. Let us say intercept term is 5. This slope coefficient is 0.25, and then we have the previous lag. Okay, so let us say, so this is one lag, no? So let us say I am telling you that yt minus 1 is equal to 4. And now I'm asking you to predict up to the second forecast. So first forecast in this case, the first forecast would be to go one step ahead, and the first forecast would be yt. If I want to go to the second forecast, which means that using current year's sales, I want to predict what will the sales be 2 years from now. If I have current year's sales and I want to predict next year's sales, that is the first forecast. If I want to predict the sales 2 years from now, that is the second forecast that I am talking about. Here I am talking about yt plus 1. Okay, now what you'll have to do over here is, let us say I am interested in finding out what is yt plus 1. This is what I want to know. Now I cannot calculate what is yt plus 1 directly. First I need to know what is yt, correct? Using this equation I cannot calculate what is yt plus 1, because if I want to follow similar logic, then in order to calculate what is yt plus 1, my regression equation will look something like this, because I need up to the first lag. So first of all, I need what is yt, no? If I want to forecast yt plus 1, I need first lag of that variable, because the first lag of that variable is my independent variable. So in this equation, I first need to find out the first lag. So first what I need to do is I need to find out what is yt. So 5 plus 0.25 into 4, okay, which is yt minus 1. So first of all, I calculate yt as 6. Okay, now what I can do is I can say, okay, it is 5 plus 0.25 into 6. And this gives me the expected value of sales 2 years from now. So I'm talking about the second forecast. This value comes to 6.5. Okay. So this comes to 6.5. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you want to do second order forecast, third order forecast, fourth order forecast, you first have to find out the previous lags. Okay, which is why, to be very, very precise, when I'm forecasting yt plus 1, this is also a forecast. Normally, the independent variable is an input. In this example, the independent variable also becomes a forecast. Okay, this is not the case over here. Pay a little attention, it's very simple. When I am doing this kind of forecasting, up to one lag is my independent variable. It does not matter how you write it. You can write it like this. You can write it like this. This is also one lag. Alternatively, you can write it like this also. This is also one lag. Basically, my point is both of these are the same thing. Basically, we are saying this is data up to the first lag. So if I have current year's data, I can forecast the next year's data. I cannot go beyond that. Okay, so first what I need to do is, using the current year's data which I have, which is, let us say, 4, first I need to forecast the next year's data. And only when I have the next year's data forecast available with me can I forecast the sales for 2 years from now. So I am not saying that this equation is changing. This equation is same. B0 plus B1 and then one previous period's lag. So this is only what I'm talking about over here as well. We are talking about data up to the first lag. But in order to forecast yt plus 1, my first lag becomes yt. And in this case, my yt itself is a forecast. Correct? You can see this is itself a forecast. So what happens as I keep on going to the second forecast, third forecast, fourth forecast, the reliability reduces because the input itself is a forecast. So in this case, I can say that the first forecast is more reliable than the second forecast. and the second forecast will be more reliable than the third forecast. See, understand what is happening. Pay attention. We are saying that yt minus 1 is 4. So this is actual data, no? When I'm using actual data in this formula, I am predicting sales of the next year. Now, obviously, this sales of the next year is an estimate. There is some error over here. This is not actual sales of next year. This is an estimate. This is a forecast. So we are saying that when I was predicting the first forecast, when I was predicting sales for the next year, there my input was actually a observed data point. It was actually 4. So I got 6. 6 also has some error. But when I am forecasting the next year's sales, in the next year's sales, my input is also a forecast. Understanding? My input itself is a forecast. So there is some error in this 6 also. Earlier, at least there was no error in this 4. Earlier, at least this 4 was an actual data point. Now this 6 itself is a forecast which I am getting from the first lag. So basically, when you are using AR models, the first forecast is more reliable, the second forecast becomes less reliable, the third forecast becomes even less reliable. Now, if I want to forecast sales, if I tell you that I want to calculate what is the sales for, let's say, the fourth year, for example. So I have this equation 5 plus 0.25. Now here I need sales of the third period. No, I need up to 1 lakh. So in order to forecast sales of the fourth year, I need first sales of the third year. So first I'll have to find sales of the third year. No, how will I find that? Right now I have sales of the next year. I have the sales of t plus 1. Then I'll have to calculate sales of t plus 2. Then using t plus 2, I'll have to calculate sales of t plus 3. And that t plus 3 I will input over here. Then I will get t plus 4. Okay, so first I'll have to calculate sales of t plus 2. In which case I will say, okay, it is 5 plus 0.25 into sales of t plus 1, which is 6.5. Like this, I calculated t plus 2. Then I will calculate t plus 3. That t plus 3 I will input over here. Then I will get the value of t plus 4. So imagine the scope of error in this t plus 4. There are so many estimates involved. Yt was an estimate. Yt plus 1 was an estimate. Then t plus 2 was also an estimate. Then t plus 3 is also an estimate. And using all these estimates in a way, I am getting t plus 4. Understanding? So that is exactly what we are saying. We are not saying the regression equation, etc., has changed. You need the previous lag. Okay, so that is why we are saying that when you go into second order forecast, third order forecast, fourth order forecast, etc., the reliability of the forecast starts reducing. So we are basically saying that you are standing here today. Today, let us say it is time t. Now, standing in time t, if you want to forecast sales of t plus 1, you want to forecast t plus 2, you want to forecast t plus 3. Today itself, if you want to forecast t plus 1, t plus 2, t plus 3, t plus 4, then obviously t plus 1 is a more reliable estimate, t plus 2 is slightly less reliable, t plus 3 is even more less reliable, so on and so forth. But understood how we forecast using auto-regression models, how we forecast using AR models, right? So first you will have to forecast this input. Okay, then you can forecast whatever you want. Okay.